Now at 10, an update on the recent termination of the Coffeyville, Kansas fire chief. Plus, the East Newton School District discusses a bond that could add a new junior high gym to the high school. And Missouri Southern baseball looks to stay hot for a conference game against Rogers State.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Citizens of Coffeyville, Kansas are speaking out in support of the fire station. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
After the recent firing of Coffeyville's fire chief, Kenny Ward, the community wants answers from the city.
That to me is sad. To me, the citizens of Coffeyville need to step forward. Us people who have parents here who are going to grow old here. And we need to stand up for our city and ask for what we need.
The fire chief's termination is not the only issue at hand. Former firefighters want to express the importance of the hazmat team to the fire station and the community.
I just want to set the record straight because there's been some discussion as to how the hazmat team is paid.
The local fire union and community believes the city manager, Mark Hall, fired Ward due to disagreements over the pay rate for the hazmat team. The community came out to the commissioners' meeting to express the support for the former fire chief.
Well, I don't know if they know this already, but the hazmat team was formed in Coffeyville because a regional flow study was done of the 12 counties in southeast Kansas, and Coffeyville has more hazardous materials to flow through this county than any of the other 12. It wasn't even close.
Multiple members of the community voiced that the restrictions the firefighters are under are keeping them from serving Coffeyville effectively.
But night or day, you could call them all the elderly people, and the current city manager put a stop to that.
I reached out to all of Coffeyville's commissioners and was denied a comment on the subject. Reporting in Coffeyville, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Coffeyville officials plan to address the issues at the next city commissioners meeting. The East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri is asking residents to approve a $5 million bond that would add a junior high wing to the high school. The district this evening hosted this community meeting to give residents more information about the project and answer any questions they might have. If approved, the project would start by adding a gym to the high school campus to be used by junior high students.
Right now, it's going to be a double gym, which means we'll have a full-size court in the middle and then 2 other courts going the other way to where we can have multi-practices going on at the same time. So it'd be a very, very large gym to where we can utilize it at all times during the day.
The gym is phase 1. In 5 or 6 years, phase 2 would add junior high classrooms and a cafeteria to that campus. The bond would be paid for with a property tax hike. When March Madness begins this week, it's going to be the first time betting on the tournament will be legal in Kansas, but that can bring a problem. According to a study by the National Council on Problem Gambling, around 2% of adults in the U.S. have a gambling addiction. That equates to around 5 million people. The group estimates 15 million more individuals are at risk of developing a gambling addiction. An addiction counselor in Joplin says the problem has grown here in the 4 states, and gambling addiction can be a slippery slope.
Well, I think it's a very subtle slide into addiction. People start out, and it's fun at first, and then they find that it becomes fun plus problems, and then it's just problems. And by the time it's just problems, they find themselves trapped in it.
Sports gambling became legal in Kansas in September. The National Council on Problem Gambling offers resources and support to people who might be struggling with addiction. U.S. Cellular and the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri have announced winners of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest. The winners from 1st to 3rd place are Thailand, Amatiana, and Landon, no last names given. Artwork includes historical figures, world leaders, scientists, and educators.
I just hope yes, they got to practice their skills in art and also look into our culture, some of the important figures in our history that have helped shape how our culture is today.
First place won $250, second place $150, third place $100. The finalist artwork was digitally displayed in U.S. Cellular's Joplin location. Congratulations. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with our first look at the weather.
Well, it actually turned out to be a pretty nice Tuesday for us today. Very cold start, but at least we're warming up those afternoons a little bit more than what we have seen. Look at this low, 20 during the morning hours. 53, should be topping out near 60. We're going to go above 60 as we get into tomorrow afternoon, which will be nice. Still pretty much clear skies. We have some showers down to our south, will not affect us. Our next storm system building out across the western third of the country. That will start to affect us by the time we get into Thursday. Outside now, low to mid 40s. I think we'll bottom out mid to upper 30s. Late tonight, we'll shoot for an overnight low right around 35 degrees. All right, here's what we're working on. Winds start to pick up. Temperatures really warm up. Thunderstorm chances Thursday. Some could be strong and then turning sharply colder by Friday. I'm going to give you all those details here in just a bit.
See you soon. 2 Springfield, Missouri business owners face prison time after pleading guilty to tampering with tow trucks. Federal prosecutors say the owner of Affordable Towing would work with a mechanic to take parts off his truck that monitor emissions. And that's a violation of the Clean Air Act. Michael Hoffman reports one of the owners says he's not worried.
We just basically took them off and did away with them.
Cleveland admits he took the converters off his affordable tow trucks, but says he didn't think it was serious until a surprise investigation from the feds.
They could have just called me, I would have told them, because I didn't think it was a big deal.
Cleveland and Robert Dyke, the owner of now closed Full Flash Tuning, would tamper with the trucks to save money on both fuel and maintenance.
Every 200,000 miles, you got to completely redo the exhaust system again. And the process of that is bankrupting the whole trucking industry.
Cleveland says the investigation into his business all started when his decision to help someone backfired.
We have Bible studies and feed homeless people on a regular basis at our car lot on Glenstone and Commercial. And a guy that we had helped, he didn't have a trailer, didn't have some stuff, and we helped him and let him borrow a bunch of stuff, gave him some work, and then when we stopped giving him work, he decided that he should turn us in to anybody he could think of.
The Environmental Protection Agency says not having the parts on the trucks releases pollutants into the air, and it's a violation of the Clean Air Act. Cleveland says it's important to follow the law.
Not to get in trouble with the federal government is why it's important.
Cleveland says while he doesn't agree with the law, he plans to now comply.
You have to obey the laws, bottom line. I mean, it isn't, in my mind, socially, it's not wrong. And there's lots of people that would disagree with that. And so the object is to comply.
The towing company owner says his business is still operating and will continue to do so. The EPA will keep an eye on the exhaust coming from the affordable towing trucks. A Moran, Kansas man previously convicted of child sex crimes is back in jail on child porn charges. 58-year-old Keith Levesque faces 31 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Court records show Levesque had previously been charged with 95 counts of sexual exploitation of a child in 2018. He later pleaded guilty to 3 reduced charges, received a 25-year probation sentence in 2020. Coming up, a Russian military jet hits a U.S. drone. How this could affect tensions between the two countries. Plus, President Biden issues an executive order concerning gun control. Pentagon says a Russian military jet hit a U.S. drone today over the Black Sea. That drone ended up in the water. For more than half an hour, 2 jets made a total of 19 passes before apparently accidentally clipping the drone. Reporter Nicole D'Antonio has the latest.
U.S. officials say a Russian jet approached the drone from the rear, dumping fuel. They believe the jet meant to come up in front so the drone would fly into the fuel cloud, but pulled up too short and clipped the drone's propeller.
Because of the damage, we were in a position to have to essentially crash it into the Black Sea. We assess that it likely caused some damage to the Russian aircraft as well.
The Pentagon says its MQ-9 drone was conducting an intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission. The crash happened 75 miles southwest of the Crimean Peninsula, a part of Ukraine seized by Russia.
These aircraft have been flying over the Black Sea region for some time, to include before the current conflict started.
The State Department summoned Russia's ambassador to lodge a protest.
This drone can carry a few bombs.
Anatoly Antonov says his country isn't looking for confrontation with the U.S. Russia's defense ministry denied its jet made contact.
We have to be very cautious regarding our actions, taking into account what is going on in eastern part of Europe.
The U.S. Navy has no ships in the Black Sea, putting them at a disadvantage in retrieving the wreckage. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Defense officials say Russia often intercepts U.S. drones, but it never turns out like this. Officials wouldn't say whether the drone was armed. President Biden today issued an executive order aimed at getting the country closer to universal background checks for gun sales. The order further defines who profits from gun sales and who must perform background checks. It also looks to increase the use of red flag laws and accelerate law enforcement efforts to identify and arrest shooting suspects. President Biden is facing backlash from environmentalists over his approval of a massive oil drilling project in Alaska. It's a major reversal after he promised no more drilling on federal lands during his campaign. The approval of the multi-billion-dollar Willow project will allow oil giant ConocoPhillips to operate 3 drill sites on federal land in Russia's North Slope. Leases to drill in the region were approved in the 1990s, so the company may have standing in court if the Biden administration were to try to block the drilling at all. The special prosecutor in New Mexico who brought charges against actor Alec Baldwin is stepping aside. Baldwin is one of 2 people charged in the deadly shooting on the set of the movie Rust. Prosecutor Andrea Reeve released a statement that says, in part, her priority in the case has become justice for the victim, cinematographer Helena Hutchins. However, she said it's become clear the best way she can ensure justice is served is to step down so the prosecution can focus on the evidence and the facts. Chief Meteorologist Doug Eddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast. And a little bit later, a warning for pet owners as spring plants start to grow.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Tuesday. It was still kind of chilly. We had a really cold start, but we did warm up a bit by the time we got into the afternoon, which is great, and we're going to continue to warm up a bit over the next couple days. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. All right, temperatures starting to drop off. Low to mid 40s right now. Eventually, we'll get down into the mid 30s for overnight lows. If we go outside, it's 46, southerly winds at about 5, humidities at 37%. But we still have pretty much clear skies. Had some clouds skirting our southern counties earlier this evening, but those are gone. This weak little wave kind of diving down into eastern parts of Texas. This is not going to affect us, but this is our next big storm system moving into the western parts of the Rockies. So the western third of the country, and that system will affect us by the time we get into Thursday. Until then, we start to warm up. The winds really get cranking over the next couple days. All right, let's go through time. Mid 30s to start. We do get some mid and upper level clouds into the region. We should be well into the 50s by noon. And I think most of us will go into lower 60s for highs. You can see these southerly winds. So it's going to be pretty breezy once we get into tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, clouds continue to thicken. May get a random shower or 2 in here by daybreak on Thursday. As we go through Thursday morning, scattered showers across the region. But it's Thursday afternoon. Here's our cold front. Watch the front. It marches in. We get thunderstorms along the front. So this is 2:30 Thursday afternoon and should get into the metro right around 4 or 5 p.m. Now, some of these storms could be a little bit stronger. I think severe weather will stay just south, but definitely something we want to watch. These quickly push through, gone by 7 or 8. But behind it, here comes the cold air. And you can see bands of light snow. So we may get a few bands of light snow Thursday night into Friday morning. If there were any accumulations, they look to be on the minor side right now, but something we'll watch. All right, for you tomorrow, warming through the 40s, 50s by 11, up to about 60, 62, I think will be our afternoon high as we get late in the day. Also remember the winds, they start to pick up. Southerly winds increasing. We're going to have south winds 15 to 25 and then gusts 25 to 30 as we get into the afternoon. Then watch this. Tomorrow night we're going to have gusts kind of in that 40 to 45 mile per hour range, and then these will start to die down a bit once we get into Thursday evening. Rainfall amounts, I don't think a ton. We'll have to see where those thunderstorms set up, but I would say most of us, 1/4 to 1/2 inch, isolated, heavier amounts. And again, I'm not expecting anything severe, but I do want to watch the southern half of the region for some stronger storms by the time we get into Thursday evening. All right, 62 tomorrow, 61 on Thursday, thunderstorms. Much colder. St. Patrick's Day, high temp of 43. The weekend looks good, just chilly, but look at those overnight lows. 5 nights in a row, we're going to be below freezing. And then we start to warm things up next week, more thunderstorms late in the week.
Thanks. Black bear season in Missouri is on its way. The Missouri Department of Conservation announced black bear season is going to be October 16th to the 25th. Hunters who applied will be chosen at random May 1st through the 31st. The MDC will offer 400 permits for the taking of a maximum of 40 black bears. Only Missouri residents who are at least 11 years old by the first day of the hunt are eligible for permits. Spring plants are starting to sprout, but some are toxic to dogs and cats. Nick Kelly breaks down the advice from veterinarians to keep your pet safe.
The return of spring means the return of amazing blooms across the Ozarks. However, some plants like tulips, lilies, hyacinths, and daffodils are toxic to pets. If plagued with or eaten, the symptoms could range from vomiting and disorientation to liver and kidney failure. If owners see a dog or cat eat any plant and aren't sure if it's toxic, the advice from veterinarians is simple.
We'd ask that they identify the plant and find out if it's toxic or not toxic. Secondly, watch the pet, monitor its food and water, and make sure it doesn't start vomiting or having a loose stool. Now, if they think that it ate it, then we need to see it.
Still ahead, Missouri Southern Baseball aims for their 4th straight win, hosting Rogers State. And the Pitt State Gorillas hit the field against MIAA rival Emporia State. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more coming up.
Missouri Southern Baseball is one of the hottest teams in the MIAA right now. The Lions have won 7 of their first 9 conference games after sweeping 5th-ranked Central Oklahoma over the weekend. After having Monday off, the Lions are right back on the field tonight. Missouri Southern at home for a midweek conference game against Rogers State. On top of the 3rd, Johnny Martinez drives this one sharply up the middle. Rogers State gets 2 runs out of it. They go up 2-0 early. Now, the Lions were held scoreless for 3 innings until Matt Miller comes up. Big bat playing small ball here. Goes over the 3rd baseman's head. Lions score a run on the bunt. It's 2-1. Then later in the inning, Chayton Beck. More small ball for Southern up the first base line. That scores another run. Lions 3-2 lead, their first of the day, and they're not done there. Inning continues this time. Bases loaded. Nate Miskowski over the fence and left for the grand slam. Missouri Southern scores 14 in the bottom of the 4th. They cruise to a 19-3 win over Rogers State. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas also on the field tonight, hosting MIAA rival Emporia State. 2nd inning, Hornets with a runner on first, looking to steal, but Nixon Brannon, perfect throw to get the out. Then just moments later, Kaysen Long gets out of the inning with a strikeout. But Pitt State down 2-0 going to the bottom of the 3rd. That's when the offense gets going. Austin Workins gets one through the right side, then check it out, gets through the outfield out there. Joe Hamilton scores all the way from first. Workins advances to 3rd. And after that, Nixon Brannon up. Drops one into left. Workins scores. Gorillas take a 3-2 lead after 3. And we'll skip ahead all the way to the 8th. Gorillas back down 1, but Nixon Brannon once again coming up big in a big-time spot. Burns the outfielder out there. Carson Coffey comes in. RBI double from Brannon. Gorillas get a sac fly moments later to take the lead, and they hold on to it. Gorillas win a good one over Emporia State, 9-8.
Biggest thing is we found a way to win. It wasn't pretty all night. We didn't do a lot of the little things right to be successful, but we got away with it. We got to learn from it, and we got to be better over the weekend. We got to get leadoff hitters out. We set first 7 innings, you had runners all over the place. We didn't get the leadoff hitter out by walks or singles, and it gets you in trouble. But, the last 2 guys, Weddle and Pomeroy, were great for us, gave us an opportunity to win the baseball game.
Missouri Southern softball is on a 9-game winning streak. Last Friday, they played their first MIAA games of the season, sweeping a doubleheader from Central Missouri. And Missouri Southern on the field for another conference doubleheader today. on the road against Lincoln. Game 1, Lions fall in a tight one, 4-3. Josie Topai goes 2 for 4 with a solo homer for Missouri Southern. So in Game 2, Lions try to bounce back and split the day. That's just what they did, winning that one 7-3. Adriana Young goes 1 for 2 in the game with a pair of RBI. So anytime both Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern baseball can win on the same day, I'll take it. Fun afternoon to go shoot baseball.
Yeah, especially when they're playing at home and you get to actually go see those games. We'll be right back. Today is 3/14, National Pie Day, P-I Day. And to celebrate, Southeast Kansas Country Store had some sweet deals. Circles Pecans and Country Store in McCune, Kansas specializes in pecan pies, P-I-E-S, deli sandwiches, candies, fudge, and other Amish goods. The store's owner said Pie Day is the perfect day to host a sale and offer some freebies to the public.
Well, everything's homemade. We use fresh fruit. We don't use canned fruit. We roll out our dough ourselves. Our cream pies we put together completely and entirely ourselves.
Circles Pecans and Country Store is on Highway 400 in McCune. Oh, those pies look good. Most pies do.
Yeah, I don't really have problems with any of them.
No, I agree. Pecan pie is really good. Final sports notes.
Well, we told you Nate Miskowski had a grand slam for Missouri Southern. Drew Davis also had a grand slam for Missouri Southern, so 2 teammates responsible for a pair of grand slams tonight. 14 runs in the 4th. Big offensive day for the Lions.
To get 14 runs in an inning, you have to have some grand slams. Thanks for joining us. Morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.